Never point a firearm at anything unless you intend to use it. Howdy, y'all, and welcome back. All right, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. And let me preface this rant with a little anecdote. Because clearly, a whole lot of y'all have never ridden in the back of a cattle truck loaded with 18-year-olds carrying M16s, and it shows. So, for those of y'all who have served, you've probably, like myself, been muzzled thousands of times. And when I say muzzled, what I'm referring to is somebody over there has their M16 and they're doing something or other, and it leans over and you look and you're just looking right down the barrel of it. It happens. It happens all the time. Especially in a cattle truck where you're all crammed in and you're all... Totally, it happens all the time. But we knew that the weapons were not loaded. Because live rounds are painstakingly kept control of, and we knew that nobody had any. Every single round is accounted for in boot camp or in active duty. Now, I never deployed downrange. That's a different story. And I can appreciate if you were in a hot zone and your buddy muzzled you with a loaded rifle. Totally, that's not what I'm talking about here, all right? I'm talking about when we are quite confident. Now, I don't know that his rifle was unloaded, but I'm quite confident that it was not. And that's what I'm talking about here, all right? For us to engage in dry practice in our home, there has to be some level of being willing to point a firearm at something that we don't actually intend to destroy, right? None of us want to shoot a hole in our wall, right? But we can take steps to make sure that the firearm is safe and clear before we begin practicing. And dry practice is not a thing that we are allowed to have an uh-oh moment. Like, oh, I brain farted and forgot to check and make sure it was unloaded for... No. Zero tolerance. There is no room for that. It's a gun. You treat it as if it was loaded until you have verified that it is not loaded. Once you have physically and visually checked to make sure that there are no rounds in the firearm, then you may proceed with your dry practice. In this case, I practice out here in my garage. I generally aim it at this wall because that's where I have the targets hanging. On the other side of that garage wall is my neighbor's backyard. I have no idea if they are in it or not. It's on me to make sure that the firearm is not loaded before I present and press. It's on me. It's not about them. And where this really becomes critical is if you live in an apartment. There seems to be this idea, apparently according to the comment section, that if you live in an apartment, you have no right to do dry fire. Because you're pointing a firearm at a wall and your neighbors are on the other side of that wall. And if bullets magically materialized into your gun, you could accidentally shoot them and kill them. Well, I suppose that's true. If bullets magically materialized, and that was a thing. That's not a thing. That doesn't happen. It's on us to make sure that the firearm is unloaded. Now, if you set that firearm down for any reason, for any period of time at all, you turn around and you answer a phone call, you run to the restroom, any reason whatsoever, if this leaves your person, then the first thing you do when you pick it back up is you check and make sure it is safe and clear. Check it again. Check it 5 times. Take it apart if you need to. Make sure it's safe and clear. And then proceed with your dry practice. Was my neighbor on the other side of the wall right there? I don't know. But I know that I made sure that the weapon is safe and clear before I began my dry practice. Zero room for error in this. All right, y'all. Just something I felt I needed to vent. I needed to get it out there. I'm curious your thoughts. Go ahead and flame me in the comments section. Let's make this go viral if we have to, whatever. But I feel like this is important because dry practice is absolutely critical to becoming a better shooter. And if you live in a townhome or an apartment or some kind of living situation where you don't have a basement with 3-foot walls, you are still allowed to dry practice, in my opinion. A couple of good tips. If you have a heavy bookcase in the apartment, use that. If there is a brick wall somewhere in the apartments, point it at that. Take steps to mitigate the danger if you were to forget to clear and safe the weapon first. But you know what? Clear and safe the weapon first. Like that. All right, y'all. Until next time, be easy.